Welcome back to my channel, you guys. Ooh, shoot, I have to remember that those candles are sitting there so I don't flip my hair and set things on fire. Okay, today is not a video that is specific about anything. If you are new here, my name is Shamika, and on this channel, we're starting to get a variety of things that we do, but right now we're focusing on having some chill time, realigning, getting a minute to breathe, understanding the importance of taking time out of your day for yourself. And we're trying to incorporate that 15 minutes that you do take into some kind of meditating or stretching or exercise, walking, something that will really get your mind in a focused place to assess where you currently are at, whether you're having a crummy day or you're on top of the world. It's nice to take time out and kind of feel what you're feeling and learn what to do when that might not be so great. I took some notes. I got my little cheat sheet notes, but it's not really notes on anything. It was just things that I was thinking of and kind of writing throughout the past couple days. And I kind of want to focus on establishing boundaries. Number one, what boundaries are, why they're important, and how we can apply them to our physical and emotional and spiritual lives. It's not going to be just kind of like a one and done thing. Establishing boundaries, keeping them, and really becoming comfortable in who you are. It's a lifetime process, because there are a lot of aspects in our lives which we have been kind of conditioned or brainwashed or manipulated into. Not to say that you're not your own person, but we have a lot of outside influences, and sometimes they lead us astray. More often than not, they lead us astray. So it's important to know who you are, and like I said, establish your boundaries. Okay, I'm gonna kind of read to you what a boundary is or what boundaries are, just so you can understand a little bit how we're going about life. We're trying to be in this world but not of it. Okay, so boundaries are a clear-cut beginning or end. It's like a rule or a limit that you set to a certain situation or place, even yourself. A dividing line that lets people know how you want to be treated, what kind of person you are, what you will and will not participate in. All of those fall under the definition of boundaries. It's basically kind of setting up your bubble, your personal bubble, how you are at home versus how you are at work, not blending those things together, especially if you're in any kind of profession where you have to be careful what you say about other people, those people being your clients. You have to establish a boundary that says, okay, I am not going to talk about my client's personal business at home, or in your personal life, whether it's emotional or physical. Like, okay, I'm not gonna let a random stranger just come up and give me a hug, or, I don't think that I feel right participating in this type of activity or this type of behavior. Those are all boundaries. We just need to understand, number one, who we are, what our beliefs are, and then how we can apply them to our lives. In the physical category, I put personal space, privacy, and well-being. In emotional, I put what are your emotions? How do we respond to them just naturally without trying to apply any type of critical thinking? And then what we can do to realize some of the things in our lives that trigger us negatively. And a trigger is something that you just it's automatic. Like, for instance, if you were waiting in line at Kroger and somebody came up and just slapped you in the face, that is definitely a trigger for a lot of people. Now, how you act after that Sometimes, give or take the situation, it's justified, but a lot of the action that people take in life really falls back to those boundaries that they set for themselves of whether or not I'm going to put my hands on somebody, whether or not I'm going to yell, how do I present myself in public. And it's not pressure, it's just a standard that you set for yourself of, okay, this is the kind of person that I'm going to be, this is how I'm going to act, this is how I will present myself to the world, and not in a fake way. Like I'm truly these things, like deep in my heart, like I really care, or I'm really nice, or yada yada yada. You get the gist. And in spiritual, I put down the question, or I put down a little note that says, how do we protect our faith and still learn to listen to others? That would be like a spiritual boundary we would have to set for ourselves. Like we have to understand that, how do I want to put it? Just because somebody is teaching us something doesn't mean that it's correct, but we still have the ability to have a conversation and debate our viewpoints without letting their viewpoints mesh into our personal beliefs. It's just like trying to find a church you like. There's all kinds of churches out there. Or trying to find a school that fits your needs. You know, there's tons of schools. You need to decide for yourself what you're looking for, what you want, where you feel comfortable, establish those boundaries, and then you'll be able to translate those into your life situations wherever you may be. Okay, I put boundaries are important. Why are they important? They're very important, but why? They're important because they allow you to have, like I said, a bubble, a default safe zone. Behaviors that when you are being pressured, when you're being bullied, when you feel anxious, when you don't know what to do, behaviors that you automatically go back to. Like if you always take your trash out after dinner, that is a boundary that you've set for yourself in your house about your trash, okay? After your dinner, boom, it's a routine. You take out your trash. Why? I don't know. Maybe the smell bugs you. Maybe the germs get to you, but that's a boundary. Boundaries apply to everything that we do, but it's like a default, A physical, emotional, or spiritual boundary is a set of beliefs or standards that you can kind of hold yourself to, that no matter what else, you fall back on that and things that you know and you trust, okay? And then also, like I mentioned, it teaches others about the kind of person that you are. A lot of times we don't have 30, 40 minutes, 5 hours, forever to figure out who people are anymore. We kind of have to base things off of how they present themselves, their actions, the way that they treat us. You can look into things like, work ethic or things to that extent, but that's a little different now. But just who they are, who they are when no one is looking, okay? But if we have boundaries for ourselves and we constantly are the person that we are showing to the world, it shows others what not to do around us, what we won't put up with, where our head is at. You have to kind of treat yourself how you want others to treat you, because if somebody doesn't think that you have any boundaries established in your life, they're going to think that you basically are like a rug. They can walk all over you, they can treat you like however they want to, and this doesn't apply to relationships only. This is work, this is the world, this is just kind of the environment that we live in. You kind of have to not be big-headed and jerk-like, excuse my language. You don't have to be egotistical or narcissistic or anything to protect your peace, okay? Protect your boundaries, protect what you know in your heart is right or wrong. And the more you do that, and the more you act that, and the more you become that, the more other people are going to treat you like those things. Another note I have, okay, yep, exactly. I said it makes communication and understanding flow more easily. And it really does. Once you know who you are and what your interests are, the, things that spark that creativity in your mind, conversations or topics that you like to talk about, it's easier to communicate with others because you're going to be seeking out others that are on the same level as you. I know it seems simple. I know it probably is like, oh, well, yeah, I do this. I constantly try to find, people that are similar to me. And I'm not talking about that front that you put out to the world. I'm talking about similar to you in your heart, similar to you in your mind. It allows you to communicate your feelings and your emotions and your letdowns or regrets or your happiness and your progress and your dreams and hopes, and really be doing it to someone that cares, basically. um it's also easier to handle your emotions, once you figure out, number one, like we were talking about triggers, different things in our world that happen to trigger a negative emotion in you. Once you figure out how you respond to that, like if the dog always barks whatever at the mailman or something and it drives you crazy, and you find yourself every single day going through the same situation, trying to figure out how to occupy, I go through this problem with her, how to occupy her, or how to teach her that the mailman is okay, but deep down they're like a protective breed, and you find yourself frustrated because you don't want to resort to violence, and you really just want them to understand but you don't know how to communicate with them. Establishing a boundary is okay. Here we go. The mailman's coming. I am going to teach you. I'm going to work with you. I'm going to truly, in my heart, try to make a change so you can associate this with, oh, it's okay. And it may never happen with like an animal because they're animals. But with humans, the more you are firm in your stance, I should say, and that stance is backed up by like real life, positive, kind of moving forward type vibes, you're gonna get that respect, if that makes sense. And then it will be easier for you to truly communicate your emotions with people. And then once you can communicate your emotions with people, you can also recognize emotions that they may be having that they're not comfortable with letting out to you, and how to maybe cater to that person a little easier because you've taken the time out to establish yourself, what you know is right and wrong, what you will and will not deal with, and not in an aggressive way, but just truly for the standard you set for your living and for yourself as a human being. You'll be able to recognize when someone else is struggling a little bit easier, and maybe that week you can do something little that might cheer them up, whether it's telling them or making sure you tell them every single day that you love them, or making sure that you're smiling around that person to kind of lift their spirits a little bit because they're struggling. It's easier for you to help other people through their emotions, and that help actually be valid. A lot of people are like, oh yeah, I understand, and I totally get it, and then that's it. That's all you get. And no, I'm not saying that you have to baby somebody, but just understanding how we operate as humans and how to navigate certain situations and what makes them worse, for like even down to an individual perspective, and what makes them better. That's a beautiful way to be, in a beautiful position to be in life, because it's smoother. You don't have all of those highs and lows. You kind of have that middle ground. Yeah, it might be a little rough still, but it's smoothing out. Okay, what other notes do I have on my cheat sheet? Let's see. Okay, we can go into why it's important to have personal space and privacy, and why those things are important to your well-being, and why it's important to set boundaries around that area. Okay, so personal space and privacy, or you just time that you take out for yourself, like our 15 minutes of stretching, those are things that you do only for you to recharge. And not everybody understands this. No, you don't need 20 hours a day all by yourself. Some people may, that's just them. But you do need time throughout your day, like I talk about consistently, to just kind of take a time out. And once you're used to getting this time for yourself, then you can start to kind of utilize that time to really assess what is going on in your life. It's like daily check-ins to see how I feel. Where are my emotions at? Am I a little irritated today? Do I need to stay away from certain things because I know that's going to make me upset? And then it's going to be an issue, or am I really happy today and I want to, spread my happiness through the world and go out and about and smile and just be happy, so that vibe can kind of propel throughout my immediate area. It's important to have your time and your space and your privacy so you can reflect, so we can pinpoint certain things, so we can just kind of recharge. The world is so chaotic, and you constantly have somebody pulling at you here, pulling at you there, needing this, needing that, wanting to go here, wanting to go that, all innocent. They don't understand where you might be at. Possibly you could enlighten them once you learn how to read yourself, but it just is time to recharge, like I've said again and again and again. Let's see where we're at. Oh, we're going back to how to protect your faith within your boundaries. And here I have listen and read with caution. I put be comfortable in what you choose to believe in. You need to be at a place in your belief where, regardless of what you hear from others, you're solid in it. Not solid in a way where you're argumentative or you have to challenge every other person because something's different, or you're snooty or angry, but solid enough to know that, hey, I can sit down and, again, listen to somebody else's opinion, possibly open my eyes about something, but still have that safe zone to fall back on. I put, just because it's your belief doesn't mean it's others. And I put, learn how to have a conversation. Don't automatically dismiss something just because it's different. Give others a chance, and you might be shocked at what awesome information, tools, tactics, and help people have to offer. You have to understand that you're not the only individual in this world, and just because you're super smart or you're advanced or you're better than somebody else in this area, it doesn't mean that they don't add value to it. We need to understand, as humans, we're not the only ones that are right. And once we get something stuck in our mind, once we hold on to something for so long, it's really hard to open our minds and our hearts to things that are just kind of way outside our perspective. And you need to be able to kind of balance that, have your fallback safe zone, but don't stay so stuck here and never change what you listen to, what you do, who you take information from, that you fall behind. Because whether you like it or not, the world is moving very fast, and you have to kind of be part of it so you can understand how to operate in it. That's it for that. Let's see what I have on my other sheet. Oh, and I put spiritual boundaries aren't just what you believe. It's also what you do, what you participate in, what you feel comfortable with in your day-to-day life, how you represent yourself to others. And I put what you think and where your heart is at. You need to be comfortable in where you are at that current time. Stop being so hard on yourself. When it comes to emotional boundaries, quit allowing yourself to take you so deep. If you're somebody that gets depressed really quickly, and you already know that you're going to start thinking about this, and then your mind is going to go on its own internal rabbit hole and take you in a downward spiral, stop it right there. Put that boundary in your life for yourself that says, nope, I already know where my mind is going. I'm going to distract myself, or I'm going to work through this now, or I'm going to write it out. I'm going to vent it to God. I'm going to put it in my letter of things that frustrate me, but I'm not going to let it take me to the same place. It always does. Like I said, we're very robotic. We get set in our ways. We get set in our emotions. We get set in our reactions. If we don't constantly reassess where we're at, our thinking, like we were talking about in our chapter, our boundaries, we're going to fall behind, and then we're going to be left just a mess. We are. And we're going to have 10 times more work to do to get out of that hole, and then to get back up to where you were, and then to progress if we didn't set any type of stopping point for us, or safe point for us, or I'm not gonna, go into that kind of situation anymore. I'm not gonna let myself be treated that way. And you don't have to do it. If I can emphasize anything, boundaries doesn't mean being, like I said, a big-headed, arrogant, know-it-all, I'm right, you're wrong type of person. It is, I know I'm loving, so I'm going to treat other people with love. I know that I don't necessarily like to be hugged by strangers, so I am going to let people know if they do it and it makes me uncomfortable, but in a nice way. I'm not going to embarrass them. I'm just going to say, hey, you know what? There's a lot of stuff going around. I really don't like to be hugged by someone that's not in my family. Try to keep it honest. Try not to reinforce lies with your boundaries. Just be real. Just say, I really don't like hugs from people I don't know all that well. Yeah, you might hurt some people's feelings, but it's okay. People need to understand that not everybody is like us. Not everybody is like you or me or him or her. We're all different. And if we can kind of operate within a reasonable, within reasonable ground without being too this or that, high or low, we could really have a more positive just experience at the store, at your house, with your family, over here. It's just like the friend that always borrows your headphones and then keeps them for 2 months. Establish a boundary. You know what? Buy her a pair of headphones for her birthday, and then from that point on, put a little note in there and say, girl, you better not lose these because I'm not letting you borrow mine. And stick to that. Because if it's constantly creating you trouble, making you mad, having you fight with people that you love, wasting your time, getting wrapped up in your emotions because you don't have boundaries set, it's not worth it. It takes a little time to figure out, no, it's not going to happen in a day or a week or whatever. Some people it might, but usually it takes time. It's worth it though. It's worth it. It's so worth it. Okay, I put, what can we do? I said, how do we learn to live invisible to the world's opinion? And I put, get raw. Write out everything you struggle with, / our letter to God. Now, if you follow along in our book series, my dog's acting up. I think in chapter 1, she suggested that we sit down and we write a letter to God, venting out all of our frustrations, all of our anger, all of our problems, maybe things that make us happy. Just put this out there. Everything that, pisses us off, basically, and being honest about it. Things that we struggle with. If we know we're kind of an ass a little bit, put that on there too. Be honest. He knows anyways. If you don't have a religion, write your letter to yourself. That's okay too. Be real with yourself. That's the next thing I have. I say be honest about why you struggle with certain things. And I put, if you don't know why you struggle or why you respond or you act certain ways to certain things, to certain triggers, I put, take note of the times when these feelings or these behaviors come up. You can narrow it down. It's not as hard as everybody thinks. All you need is a freaking 3-pack of mini Legals and a pen from the dollar store. Start taking notes. Start figuring out why you act this way. Start figuring out why you have problems all the time. And you'll soon come to realize that, I don't want to put a percentage on there. I'll put 50%, half and half. 50% of the time, it's really not anything that you're doing. It's an unrealistic expectation or behavior that you're setting on yourself because of an outside influence, and you feel obligated to act a certain way. And it really is just kind of a trap. It's a trap that our world has kind of set for us. It's embedded for us. It's kind of like high school behavior. we're constantly in that mindset, in the competitive, well, I want to be better, I want to have the better this, I want to do the better that. How come she's like this? How come she has that? Why is she acting like this? What? We're too nosy. We act like a bunch of high school or college kids running around with a grievance for every little tiny thing. We don't value the time that we have with our family. We don't value anything anymore. We have no standard as a society as far as how we're supposed to act, how we're supposed to treat others. People are running around going crazy, and I am not perfect. Trust and believe, I am not perfect at all. Nobody is. God's perfect. But we are so designed to just right off rip act a certain way. If we can kind of pinpoint some of these situations, soon you'll realize that 50% of the time it's not even you, it's the other people in this world. And then you'll work on establishing your boundaries and figuring out how to keep yourself out of those situations, because it's not worth your time, it's not worth your frustration, it's not worth your anger, it's not worth your peace, it's not worth any of the energy that you give to it. Oh, dude, I promise you'll be so much happier. And yes, it's a reality check for a lot of people in your life, because you've been that person with a hurt. You've been that person that loves. You've been that person that just bends over backwards, no matter what. Excuse me. But you're not going to do it anymore. You're setting your boundary. And it doesn't mean being a jerk. Please, please, please do not get a big head, set a whole bunch of boundaries, and start treating people like crap. That is the complete opposite of what we need to be doing. We need to be setting boundaries from ourselves, because we are the biggest motivator when it comes to getting our persons into a situation that is not healthy for us, okay? So there's that. Apparently, I'm breaking it into the ball face of myself. But yes, take notes. We can narrow it down a lot further than what you think. I put, you are not doomed. You just have to be honest about yourself and about the others. And I put, things are not the same in this world. People are not the same in this world. A lot of people act like they care and they don't. So do not waste your time caring about them. Okay? We're going to flip. That is all my notes for today. I know this was a little bit of a more intense, kind of scripted, I should say, chill video. It's probably far from chill. I'm not even going to label it chill. I'll just put establishing boundaries. I even got all my little lights set up for you. I switched the light bulb up there so it wasn't so bright. I got a new little candle to Woodwick. They're on sale. If you go to Kroger, they got their candles on sale. Some of the good ones too, not the cheap ones already. Well, I don't know what I can and cannot say on here, but you'll know what I'm talking about when you go in the candle aisle and you look. You'll be like, oh yes, because they're like $5-10 off certain candles, and it's worth it. But yes, I don't know why I felt like I needed to say that, but I do know that once I learned how to do this for myself in most aspects of life, like I said, I'm not perfect. I still have my issues. I still need to constantly be learning and trying to adjust my boundaries to truly fit who I am. But once I started implementing boundaries into my life, things got so much smoother. I got so much braver. I was able to express myself without getting pissed off and just yelling and walking away. I could have a conversation without being mean or upsetting someone just because I might have a different opinion than them. People didn't automatically assume I was so, I don't know how to put it without swearing. People didn't assume I was so B-word, okay? Rhymes with itchy, if you catch my drift, because I was walking around happier. I wasn't walking around with this mean face because I was upset at the world and I was pissed because somebody didn't put their cart back and just whatever. I established in my life where I was going to let myself go emotionally. And yes, I know some things are outside your control and you got to roll with it, but it gets better and things change and you get more respect. and people start to see who you truly are, and then you get such better connections. They might be fewer and far in between, but the ones that you do have in your life are so much better because you're real and you're raw. And I mean, you don't have to go into all the details of your life with everybody. That's fine. I don't. That's a boundary I set. There's only certain people that I go way into detail with because I know how honesty is treated in this world right now, and it's sad. However, I don't purposely put myself in situations anymore that I know I'm going to fail in. I don't. Just to put it plain and simple, I try my hardest to stay away from those kinds of people, those kinds of situations, and those kinds of things, because I know all it's going to do is upset me. And it's not anything specific. Like I said, it's just our world, but we need to learn how to navigate it and be okay in it and not be a recluse and just lock ourselves in our house because we can't handle anybody. Yes, have your private time. It's very important, but work on establishing your boundaries. If you are in that kind of hermit mode because you don't feel like dealing with the people of this world, learn how to navigate your city at hours that aren't as busy. Learn what, I know when to go to my store. I know when it's going to be the least busy. I know when I'm going to have the best worker there. I know when it's going to be most stocked up. Why? Because I'm a little OCD in certain things, but I was tired of waiting in line for 35 minutes, having a crappy cashier, and having a horrible experience on the only time I went out of my house for that day. So I changed it. I established a boundary. I told myself I was going to figure it out, and I did. It could be as silly as that. But those little things, I'm telling you, establish boundaries. If that's the only message that you get. Okay, you guys, I'm going to try to make some, fiesta corn tacos. I don't know how it's going to turn out, but I'm really excited. I got the shells and everything already heated up. The corn's cooked, and now I'm kind of putting it together with a taco seasoning, a little bit of onion, salsa. I'm going to throw some cheese on it and kind of do a little corn bake, but then make tacos with it. I'm excited. It's late, but again, I can't sleep. And my schedule's been off this week because I've been trying to, I've been so excited getting all these videos and trying to keep up and filming all these things and just getting in the habit of how to fit this into my day-to-day. A lot of times I do it at night. But yeah, I wanted to try that to see how it's going to be. So I will let you guys know. Don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe, comment, turn on your notifications, comment on everybody else's comments. Really put out there what you feel. I don't care. I'm not worried about it. I know. Trust me, I've been online long enough to know how to differentiate between and not take people's opinions too seriously. But put it out there, let me know how you feel. Interact. Give me, advice from you or what you've learned along the way and how to navigate this world and be okay. And just stop taking the opinion of everybody else but yourself and God, so serious. Learning how to hold yourself to a standard and just be a good human. Okay, I think that's long enough. I love you guys. I will see you in the next video. I've got an hour-long stretching video that I did. I was just kind of feeling it. It was a freestyle, but if you're inclined, go ahead and check it out. Good for mobility, I can say that. And strengthen all those little stabilizer muscles. Probably gonna finish the chapter 4 in our book either tonight or tomorrow, and I will get that posted by the end of the week because I want to be on track for next week. Other than that, I think that's it. I hope you guys have a good day. If you had a hard day, I'm sorry. Take a deep breath, get some time, stretch it out, do push-ups or jumping jacks, or do the little laying down thing where you tense up your whole body before you go to bed, and then just relax into sleep if you can. And if you can't sleep like me, you know what? Quit fighting it. Get up, do something, go to a quiet room. If you can't, I don't know, get away from your situation. Just go over things in your mind that are positive. Don't take that time that you're kind of wide awake and spiral yourself into a negative feeling or emotion. Keep your chin up. We got this. I promise. We do. I know it seems hard, but like I said, we are not doomed. We are just different. And that is okay. We just need to learn how to kind of take that step for ourselves and set boundaries against this world. All right, I love you.